You dug for dust and heat, watched the rig lights blur. Coins came slow through stone, and the bills came first to hurt. But I found a different road, where the load can pay its way. Stack the cards, set them free, let the uptime earn the day. GPUAutoPilot on, turn the idle into gold. Every slot stays moving, every cycle stays sold. And I hear the numbers climb when the airflow starts to sing. What was sunk in mining pain comes back like everything. Rent the cars, let them run, profit climbs one by one. GPU rental here to stay, mining's long and fading away. Rent the cars, let them run, make it move, make it hum. GPU rental line by line, better margins every time. Red Panda Mining said, watch the old game bend. When the market turns the wheel, you need a smarter end. No more praying to the pool, no more waiting on a block. Let the clients book the hours, let the ledger tick and talk. And the trolls in the vast Discord talk their noise all night, but the receipts keep talking, and the math looks right. You can laugh at every doubt, let them shout into the dark. I'd rather roam the steady stream than chase one lucky spark. Rent the cars, let them run, profit climbs one by one. GPU rental here to stay, mining's young and fading away. Rent the cars, let them run, make it move, make it hum. GPU rental line by line, better margins every time. When the hashes fall to silence, I don't miss the race. I see tenants fill the calendar, I see green in every space. From the rack to the return, that's the song I choose. Not a gamble on a miracle, just a business that can you grow. Rent the cars, let them run, profit climbs one by one. GPU rental here to stay, mining's long and fading away. Rent the cars, let them run, make it move, make it hum. GPU rental line by line, better margins every time. Cars, let them run, profit climbs one by one. GPU rental here to stay, mining's long and fading away. You dug for dust and heat, watched the rig lights blur. Coins came slow through stone, and the bills came first to hurt. But I found a different road, where the load can pay its way. Stack the cards, set them free. Let the uptime earn the day. GPUAutoPilot on. Turn the idle into gold. Every slot stays moving. Every cycle stays sold. And I hear the numbers climb when the airflow starts to sing. What was sunk in mining pain comes back like everything. Rent the cars, let them run. Profit climbs one by one. GPU rental here to stay. Mining's long and fading away. Rent the cars, let them run. Make it move, make it hard. GPU rental line by line. Better margins every time. Red Panda Mining said, watch the old game bend. When the market turns the wheel, you need a smarter end. No more praying to the pool. No more waiting on the block. Let the clients book the hours.
Good thing I got the wife yelling from the other room saying, muted. And I know some people in here were saying no audio. So, hey, welcome back to the Max Voltage stream. You know, what would it be if every once in a couple of months I was muted? I mean, it just wouldn't be the same. So, anyway, I'm in a good mood tonight, even though I was just muted. Appreciate you guys all being here. It's been... What?
Sounds weird. It sounds really like
Echoey?
yeah.
Because you took those down.
It can't be that.
It is.
Okay, well put them back.
No, I'm just saying. So, wife was just saying it was echoey, and as far as I can tell, it's because of the. No, I'm just saying. So, wife was just saying. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, sorry, that's bothering me. We had some tiles up, and we took them down when we put the desk in. So I got a new standing desk. So, got a flexi spot desk. I paid for it. Do like it so far. We'll see. I might do a video on it, but I kind of doubt it. Anyway, they're not certainly paying me for it. I did reach out to them to see if they wanted to do something, but I got ghosted, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. Was hoping with when I actually submitted it at 9 o'clock and 3 seconds when they had a promotion of the first 10 orders after that time. But I guess I was a second or two late, unfortunately. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I got a new standing desk. We put that together. And by we, I mean mostly Sunflower Mama. Put it together. But I did help a little bit. I've been feeling pretty good. So definitely happy about that. I'm actually able to walk some of the time without a limp. Depends on how long I've been sitting. Because still I get up and I'm stiff. Thursday, they kicked my butt in PT, which is good. But I was definitely a bit stiff today as a result. But anyway, all right, well, let me get back to the chat. And Squirrel Master's welcome. But yeah, it was 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time, actually. Quick Hash, welcome. Tube and Jar, welcome. Deparsh, good to see you, sir. Scotter 007. Yes, it is a couple of new AI songs. It's funny. I actually said with the stuff you just heard, those two songs were songs that they came up with when I said, "Hey, I want it to be about this, and I want it to sound like Journey," and that's what they came up with. I like the songs. It's actually like Christian rock, and I do like Christian rock. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I like. If you ever listen to Christian rock, it has just like any other.
The sound's coming from the camera, not from your microphone.
Oh, that's weird.
That's why it sounds so.
All right, hold on a second. I think I know how I can fix it. That is so weird. Why is it doing that? Hold on a second while I.
Amateur.
Why did it do that? Not that. Oh, it's not coming from. It's coming from that camera. Oh. I bet that sounds a lot better. Sorry about that, guys. I'm like, what the heck? Anyway, alrighty. Well, I'm sure you guys can hear me a lot better now. Although you could hear me before. That's just a credit to actually how good that microphone is actually. Anyway, all right, back to the chat. So Quick Cash says, Max, my 8x4090 rig at 25 cents per hour or per GPU, still not getting rented. Yeah, I mean, going into the weekend, getting 8x rigs rented, yeah, they can sometimes be a bit challenging. Basically you have like colleges and businesses are the ones that generally use those, not the occasional people that might be using it on the weekend. So yeah, you obviously, when you lose a long-term job, and usually those eight GPU rigs will get long-term jobs, which is nice, but yeah, for right now, you just kind of sit and wait. You'll pick something up in maybe a few days, but you'll pick up something and it'll probably be a long-term job. I actually have my 8x4090 GPU rigs. I have it done on 1 per GPU. And to me, it seems like it stays rented more often. I do probably not make quite as much per GPU, but it stays rented more often. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. But definitely it takes longer to get rented when you're looking at that. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Squirrel Masters, I make a bunch of AI songs. Let's see. And you're welcome, Mage Man Bro. Got a bunch of them trolling RPM. Oh, the your AI songs. I did have RPM in one of these songs. I'm sure you guys probably heard that right at the very end. Mr. Peaceful, welcome, sir. And let's see. A4000 Pro or an RTX 4000 Pro. I didn't know they made an A4000 Pro. Not saying that they didn't. I just wasn't aware of that model. Yeah, 15. Lately, I've seen that I've had to lower my price a bit on 5090s, but not a ton. But like earlier in the week, I was having no trouble getting over 30 cents for my 5090s. So it depends on the market, depends on the demand. Likewise, your 4090s at 22 cents. I don't think I have some of 22 cents, I think, and some at 23, I think, right now. I'm sure, I mean, the weekend typically is slower. So yeah, sorry about the no sound. Let's see. Way better. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I think I jumped. So it wasn't the sound tiles after all. And actually, I'm not using OBS. But that had nothing to do with it. It had to do with right before the stream, I turned on my overhead camera in case I decided I was going to use it for stuff. I may or may not have decided yet. But yeah, so that's what caused that. But I'm using Meld. I'm not using OBS. It's been kind of fun. It has an AI, so if you want to do like some special things, anybody wants to become a subscriber or donate memberships or become a member, super chat, whatever, you'll get different alerts now. I had them programmed in. And like I said, I got the chat over here now. Yeah, I just kind of like it. I got to make the text bigger though. Although on a TV, and that's by the way, I'd been watching a lot more streams on TV, and it is nice having the chat on the screen. Definitely nice. All right, let me continue going down, see who else is here. Doom Boots, welcome. Yeah, automatic beats, definitely not using the right mic. Yeah, I wasn't using the right mic. Let's see. All set. Good to see you, sir. David MC 1975. Let's see who else is here that I haven't chimed in. And if you do want to speak directly to me, please tag me in the chat. It makes it a lot easier for me to make sure I'm addressing those. Of course, super chat I'll definitely read, no question. Let's see. Doomboot says, nah, it's their stupid naming scheme for generations. I think he's talking about the RTX Pro 4000 Blackwell. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The A4000 is Ampere, so that's what the A stands for, I believe. Yeah, the new Blackwell card, 24 gig. Yeah, that's the RTX Pro 4000. Doomboots 30 cents a day has been on and off for me. Same here. Sometimes I get over 30 cents. Sometimes I get a little under 30 cents. Tubajar says, just got my OpenClaw set up. It's okay speed on 1080 Ti. Yeah, it's going to be a little slow with that. I don't have much on it yet, though. Yeah, I mean, anytime you're running a local AI on something like OpenClaw, your mileage may vary. I mean, you're gonna get mixed results just because it's not going to have the context. It's not going to be a huge model, so the accuracy is going to suffer. But for basic stuff, I mean, it's certainly good, and it's good to get the experience of messing around with it locally. That's kind of one of the things I was thinking about doing. I got so much other things I want to do though right now. Mageman Bro says, I bought a Threadripper 3975WX combo on eBay. I'm selling my two 3090 systems and throwing the 4x32 DIMMs on Threadripper board and putting my buddies donated 3060s on it. Putting 3060s on it instead of 3090s? Man. Interesting. I'm curious how that goes. And then the other part is make sure I know when I did my Threadripper system, I put RDIMMs on it. So ECC memory. I'm guessing it accepts regular DIMMs, but I'm not honestly sure. Just because mine came as a bundle out of Micro Center, and I bought it well before the increase in price. What I bought is now priced at over $5,000. I didn't spend anywhere near $5,000. It was $2,000. Expensive, but hindsight's 2020. That was a good buy, a very good buy. Blackhead Team and Frogman Mining Digital Jackson. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it. All right, so couple of just life things to get out of the way. If you heard me complaining last week, most of those things, if not all, got resolved. So Sump Pump was complaining about the plumber. I called Zoller on Monday, talked to a guy, and he said he was going to call the plumber to like arrange things. I'm like, cool. He called, left, again, I'm going by what he said. I can't prove it, but he called and left a message, never got a phone call back. So then I called him back and said, hey, did you ever get a hold of him? He's like, yeah, he never returned my phone call. I'm like, Okay, let me call him. So then I called. I think I got the owner's. Well, the owner. It's a husband-wife team. I think I got the wife on the phone, explained the situation, and she just made an appointment. And then Thursday he came in. The guy came in, and I said, before you do anything, this is what's happened. And so I kind of rambled for a bit. And he's like, look, all I know is that I'm putting in this pump and I'm not charging you. I said, that's cool. I'm good with that. So anyway, the pump was Zoller had basically already said, hey, I called the guy to say, just use one of the pumps you have. I'll replace the one you have in stock. Just replace this whole pump. And then so he came in with a new pump, replaced it, and was in and out in no time. So that's resolved. What else? Obviously, I said I got the new desk put together, so that feels good to have a bigger desk surface to work with. It's a 63-inch wide by 31-inch deep, so it's definitely a bigger desk. I like it. Trying to think of what else I was complaining about last week. I do know one other thing I got resolved this week. So I had bought. Uh, it was from a company called. The company that made it was Hypershell. I won't mention the company that sold it to me. I had met them at CES. They sold it to me at a discount and said that they would take a return on it. And I submitted like 2 weeks after I got it. I said, hey, I'm going to want to return this. I'm getting my hip replaced. I'm not going to need this thing. And supposedly, and he showed me the emails that they sent back. I never got them. And my spam like deletes after 30 days. So I never saw anything in there. So I never saw the emails. And he says he left me a message. I'm like, I don't delete voice messages. And I never got a voice message. So I don't know what happened. I should have followed up, but I had a lot of stuff going on at the time, personal stuff. So I had kind of forgotten about it. Anyway, long story short, we came to an agreement that basically about 80%. So basically, it's like a 20% restocking fee. So I'll get 80% of my money back, which is still better than I would be able to do if I sold this thing. So it'll be good to get that out of the house, get that money back. And there was something else that I resolved this week, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Somebody want to remind me, what else was I whining about last week? Um, let me take a look and see if I put it in the agenda. I don't think I did. So anyway, so there was something else that got resolved this weekend. I can't remember what it was. And hip is getting better. I will get to the point where it's a little stiff. So I'll, when I first get out of a chair, I'm still kind of limping a little bit. But once I get moving, I can walk without a limp as things loosen up. So it's definitely getting much better. I'm not on crutches anymore. So things are improving. Really, really, really happy about that. How much was the desk? It was between, you know what? I'm not even sure. It was on sale. That's a really good question that unfortunately, let me see if I can look it up. I'm going to look at FlexiSpot first. See if it's in there. Let me take a look. I did upgrade the desktop to a bigger desktop, so that was a little bit extra money. And I got some, like the actual computer is hanging from the rail, so it moves up and down with the desk as well, which is good. All right, let me see if I can log in. What do I have logged in as? That's a very good question. What did I log in as? I bet I didn't. I know I didn't log in as that. That's not going to work. That's definitely not going to work. Yeah, that's the wrong email. Wrong email. You had to ask me a question, didn't you, that I wasn't going to know? Yes. Firm All right, let's try the one I know it is. It's not that one. I restarted my machine right before I left. So there. Continue. This is the one. My orders. You all orders. You all orders. Thank you. $727 was the grand total with tax and everything. So it was not cheap. Definitely not cheap. But I look at it as being a good investment. It'd be good for being able to put together with having a bigger desktop service and being able to do overhead shots and things like that. So that was the idea. Plus, I like having a black surface. I know some people are like, well, most computers are black, so why would you want a black surface? I don't know. I like a black surface. So anyway, so black surface, I'm good with it. So anyway, answered that question. All right, let me see. Where did I leave off? Where did I leave off? Well, I'll go backwards up the chat. Oh, no, I pretty much had gotten all the way down to the bottom. Okay. Good evening, Ontario Miner. Good to see you, sir. Did you ever clear the CMOS on your motherboard and see if things work better that way? Let me know. Curious. All right. That's kind of all the personal stuff out of the way. So I have a new rig that I'm going to be putting together. Don't know if I'll do it tonight, but I had met Inwin at CES, showed me around their suite, and I fell in love with the MS07 case, which, hold on. This is kind of heavy. Is right here. It's kind of like a cube. It has, let me see if I can open this up without breaking anything. It has drive bays in the front. So this can be like a combo Vast.ai. Hold on. There we go. It'll be like my other one, but in a much different way. It'll be much more compact. So it'll be very, very similar to my current NAS. Let's see. I just resurfaced homemade desk with a block contact paper and glass overlay. It's nice as black. I like it. Nice. Doom Boots says kind of the same form factor as John's bookcases. Yeah, it is similar. You know, you got the motherboard on top and the drive bays down below. So what I have going in, let's start with the motherboard. Move this stuff out of the way. All right. I was originally going to go with this motherboard. It's really, really good from the standpoint of, so it's at Mag B55 or B850M Mortar Wi-Fi from MSI. What drew me to this motherboard was its power. I was originally going to put a 9950X in it. I ended up ended up getting a great deal on a 9900X for $300 open box, which, by the way, it's not open box. It is sealed. They couldn't find it, which is common at Micro Center sometimes. I've had it happen a number of times where they say that they have open box on the site. It's not there. So then they just give you a new one, which is nice. So anyway, so that's what I was originally going to go with. That one's going back. This somebody on the Vast Discord actually posted about this, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it's going to be a better fit. It is the Pro WS B850M Ace SE from Asus. What is special about this board is that it is Epic compatible. I'm not putting an Epic in it, but it is Epic compatible. It can do ECC RAM. So for future proofing, this is going to be really valuable. So you're like, really? You got it just for that? No, no, no. What I really got it for was the fact that it has an IPMI port in it, which means you have much better remote ability into this. So you have BIOS level, like basically a built-in KVM is basically what an IPMI is. So that was really cool. This also has a built-in, what was that port? Not that I'm going to use it. Shoot. I've talked about these before. Why can I not figure out what it's called? MCIO. It's got one MCIO connector. But once you use the 4 SATA in it, yeah, well, the MCIO no longer works. There's also what's the other thing on here? A U.2 connector, but that's only good for one additional, and it's only for PCIe 3.0. But you could run that to one of the drive cages. So anyway, definitely a cool little board. I definitely like it. It has 2 M.2 drives, which that's the one thing. There's 3 M.2 drives in the other one, which had 2 on the front, 1 on the back. So that was a neat little feature in the MSI version. But I'm just gonna run 2 terabyte drives. So here are my 2 terabyte drives. I got this one a while back. I was going to put this in another rig and then realized I don't need to do it with what I'm going to do with it. And then this one I just got. This one was like $70 cheaper because of its form factor. So I did get a couple of adapters which adapt the different sizes. So anyway, got that. Then the gold, the stuff that's worth more than gold, is these, which I bought with a kit. So the kit was $1,000. This all by itself is listed for $1,000. So everything else I'm gonna sell. Just got to figure out what I can sell it for. If anybody is interested in a 9800 X3D, a motherboard to go with it, an AIO cooler, 360 AIO cooler, or a Corsair case, like a $70 Corsair case, let me know. Contact me in the Discord, and maybe we could work something out. But obviously, the case I'm probably not going to want to really ship because I'll probably spend half the amount on shipping that thing. But yeah, if anybody's interested in the other things, let me know. All right, let me see. Let's see. Doomboot says the micros don't have DRAM cache. Not a fan of those personally. Really? I thought I looked it up and I thought they did. Well, we'll see how it works. It was $229, so yeah, I thought I looked it up and I thought they did. Well, you know what? I gotta take the motherboard back, so maybe I'll look that up and maybe decide to go something else. I'll take a look, but I appreciate you letting me know that. Oh, and then of course the cooler, because it can't be taller than 130 millimeters. It pretty much takes out almost any, I shouldn't say any tower cooler, any substantial power cooler. So I got the Thermaltake AXP 120X67. So the 67, it means that this is 67 millimeters tall. So it's not a tower cooler. It is a top cooler. But because of the way the case is with the fans from the front blowing directly over the motherboard and 2 fans in the back above the IO shield. I don't think this is going to be really, it's not going to really have a problem um, with cooling. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And then, oh, and here were the adapters I was talking about. Let me open them up. I thought they were kind of cool. I didn't even know these existed. And I want to take one of these out. Yeah, that combo was gone. I think the email went out about noon. I mean, it was there from the beginning of the day, but I didn't get the email until around noon. By 6 o'clock, they were gone from every store. Every store. Chicago was one of the last ones to have one. Now, I didn't get mine from Chicago. I shouldn't say that. My daughter donated one of them to me, so I have 2 kits. So I got one from Chicago and I got one from Westmont. But this one, basically you snap off what you don't need to get to the size you need it. So this is a 2242 is the size. So basically, where is it? Yeah, basically this goes 30 to 80. And if I want to go 42 to 80, basically I just snap off this side. And then the rest of it is 42 to 80. And then this slides directly into the edge of the actual drive. So like I said, the micro is really small, or not super small, but smaller than your standard 2280. And so anyway, so it's definitely not the smallest size, but definitely a smaller size. So I don't know. We'll see if I keep it. I can always return these if I need to. I mean, they weren't very expensive, but still. So we'll see. So the plan is to put those mirror them basically. I am going to install Unraid on this thing. It just made the most sense. One is, well, when I was originally deciding on Unraid, I was going with the MSI board, and so I was thinking about going TrueNAS Scale or Unraid, since I was going to be using it as a NAS as well eventually. So, but then I realized TrueNAS Scale hasn't updated its kernel. So the only adapter or Ethernet connection on the MSI is the R8126. And I've already dealt with that. And trying to get that in on a Unraid or TrueNAS is tricky. It's not the same as if you were doing bare metal, which I've done the bare metal on that one. So I was like, you know what? I don't really want to deal with that. So this one has 2 ports. It's got a 10 gig R8127, which it's the same family as the 8126. It's just the fact that this one has a 10 gig port on it, but it also has an Intel 2.5 gig port, which is what I'm going to use. So that is another reason why this is a winner for me in the motherboard wars. And then the piece de resistance, which, by the way, this is very anticlimactic with the packaging. I haven't even opened it yet. Is the PNY Pro 5000, the RTX Pro 5000. So it's got 48 gig of RAM. But a lot of people have been talking about it, that it is pretty much best value. Is really hard to say given the price range of these things. But when you compare it to where the current price level is, yes, it is the best value. Like I said, everything's relative. So anyway, that is my build. So I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a stream tomorrow to stream just the build of it. Basically get it to where it posts. I'm not going to do the Unraid install, because the Unraid install could be
that could be like a big old hassle. Maybe not. So one of the things about Unraid that they just changed, or that they are in the process of changing, because they're still in beta. I think they're on beta 2 though, which is usually the one right before release candidate, and then they got general release. So I am gonna put Unraid beta 2 on it. And the reason why is because Unraid 7.3, they finally get rid of the mandatory USB drive. You no longer have to have a USB drive connected. And we all know from Hive that USB drives have a tendency to go bad, and then all of a sudden nothing works. The worst part about it is, yes, you need to make sure you recover your USB drive and back it up, but you got to back it up somewhere else. So you got to make sure you do all that. If you don't, you're in deep doo-doo. Deep doo-doo if you don't. So I'd rather not have to do that. I'd rather have everything mirrored. And so that is the current plan. So I'll probably use most of, so it'll be 100 gig for, let me think. I'll have to figure out exactly how much. And you know what? Actually, take it back. It actually partitions what it thinks it needs for Unraid, so you don't even need to worry about that. But I'll probably take for the actual Vast, I'll probably take 1.7 or 1.8. I shouldn't need more than 200 gig for any of the partitions. I would not partitions, but any of the containers or VMs or anything like that I might run on it. I don't know. If I end up deciding to run a Flux node on it, maybe I'll leave more than that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Second TL, good to see you, sir. Northern Crypto and Tech. Let's see who else. Anybody else? Enable. Good to see you, sir. I think I already said hi to Frogman Mining, and I think that's it. So, Doom Boots, the least awful price. The 4,000 Blackwell was my pick when it was 1,400. Yeah, that's not a bad price. The problem I had with it is, and it's not there anymore. It's more like 18 to 1900. So that's why I chose not to use it. Is that on Vast, it looked like it was only getting about 15 cents. And the Pro 5000 looks like it's getting close to 40 or 45 cents for only a little bit more wattage. That thing only pulls 300 watts. So I'm like, okay, I think I'll go with this and run with it and see how it goes. So I don't know. I'm curious at how fast, due to how much in demand that GPU seems to be, how fast I'll be able to get it verified. So definitely want to get it running. The plan is to put it back there. But I do need to get a 2.5 gig switch because I want to have that up here. So I'm going to probably get the same 2.5 gig switch that I have in the basement. I'm going to put it up here. So I'll basically run 10 gig from there to here. And then I'll hook up a 2.5 gig to my computer and a 2.5 gig to that. And then when my son is here occasionally, he'll be able to work at the next test over with the 2.5 gig, because I'm pretty sure his laptop's got a 2.5 gig as well. So, and maybe by the time he is here next, maybe we'll have fiber. That would be nice. That would be very, very nice. But so far, no update on that. I know that they're working on the west side of town, and unfortunately, I'm on the east side of town. June says, yeah, was the 5000s are probably more appealing with the 48 gig for renters. Yeah. What 2.5 gig switch is decent? So I'm using 159 gig, $159. It's a Ubiquiti 2.5 gig switch. It's got 8 ports plus the 10 gig combo port. It's a level 2 switch, not a level 3 switch. So it doesn't have all the whiz bang features of a level 3 switch, like port aggregation or anything, or link aggregation or anything like that. But I generally don't use that, so I'm not really concerned about that. But $159 is kind of a sweet spot. They have another one that if you have an actual 2.5 gig connection coming out, it's like $50 and it's a 4-port. So I was thinking about doing that, but I don't think the Dream Machines on their SFP Plus ports, I don't really know how well they do 2.5 gig because they don't even register as 2.5 gig. They register as 10. Even though the SFP module I have in definitely says it does 2.5. So I kind of want to just bring 10 over and then 2.5 out. So it's definitely like 3 times the money, but I think it's a good investment to be made. So yeah. Let's see. Knock is profitable to mine again. Interesting. Let's see if there was anything else that I might have missed. Is multiple vendor mining rigs difficult? I never thought so. I had mixed rigs. I had different types of cards. I don't know. I never found it that difficult. You just have to segment them out as far as like the overclocks and things like that. But is it really worth it to mine? Well, I guess if you have really super cheap power, then maybe. Core X. Wow. Everybody's, well, not everybody's here, but a lot of people are here tonight. So I appreciate you being here, Core X. Good to see you, sir. For those people that don't know, that's Iowa. They changed their name. Red Panda's even here. You missed the music at the beginning, Red Panda. Oh yeah, many of us know him as Dupran. I'm sure you guys, well, a lot of you guys have heard me tell the story. He was, let's just call it this. He was my first consulting client before I was offering paid consulting. And it was fun. It was really fun. He's like the dream client. He did all the research. Like, I tried this, I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. He didn't just say, hey, can you help me? He did everything he could possibly do to help himself. And I was able to get him going. But like I said, it was really fun. So that was my first interaction with Dupran, and we've been friends ever since. So good to see you, Dupran. Good to see you, Iowa. What do they call you these days? Is Dupran still okay, or is it just Iowa or just Core X? Yeah. Yeah, that was like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. Yep. I still have never met him in person. Still not met him in person. Almost. I'm trying to remember. I had like, me and my wife had talked about, oh, that's right. We were going to, oh, that's right. When we drove out to Terra, my wife and I were talking about, actually, we only went out there once together, but we were talking about that if there was another time where we went out, we would go up through, I forget what the town was in Nebraska, but we would drive north. And so then we wouldn't have been very far away from, it wouldn't have been that far out of the way to go up to where Dupran is in Iowa. So, yeah. So, yeah, we never did take another trip. So, yeah, you were like 2 hours out of the way, but you only would have been about 1 hour out of the way if we took this other part of the trip at 1 hour out of the way. So, yeah. Anyway, someday. I mean, me and my wife have talked about taking trips out to the Northeast. I've never met Chum Change in person. There's obviously a number of other people out that direction. Be kind of fun to take like, I mean, it wouldn't be a 30 and 30 trip, but, taking a road trip, just visiting people along the way. Other crypto, YouTubers have done that in the past. And it's always been fun. So yeah, I don't know. Alrighty. So I went over the build. Like I said, I mean, we're already 50 minutes into the stream. I'm not going to try to put this thing together in a rush. But maybe tomorrow. Let me see. I just realized. So tomorrow, for those of you that don't know, I discovered at age 58 that I have ADHD. I was supposed to have the official test tomorrow. And unfortunately, insurance That's probably all I need to say. It's being delayed, but it's going to get done. It's just they're asking for some additional information. It got asked at the last second. So that's not happening Sunday. So I was like, oh, I could do this tomorrow. And then I remember tomorrow, the choir that I'm normally in, but I've had the last couple of years, I've had reasons why I couldn't. And this spring, I couldn't because of getting the hip replacement. But anyway, they have their concert on Sunday, so I'm probably going to go to that tomorrow. So I'll have to figure out, do I do it tomorrow night? Do I do it tomorrow early? I don't know. I'll figure it out. But keep an eye out. I'll probably post something tomorrow. Some weirdo. What? Have I ever used Jelly Bay? I have not, and I'm glad you reminded me of that. I kind of forgot about it. I may give that a shot. That's a great idea. Wait a minute. What? Some weirdo says Red Panda has a coupon for his new RPM BW. BWI? BW? That's an exclamation point. Only 50% off. Please terms for I don't know. I have no idea. So Max, did you go through a whole install? No. You're talking about with the script. I have not yet. And actually when I put this together, I won't be doing it there, but I do have a salad rig. I was waiting to get to a certain point. Actually I should look to see if that ever got re-rented. It lost a client. Oh, look at that. It's downloading. Oh, it's not downloading anymore. It actually has a client again. So I don't know. It's hard to like take a rig down when it's making money. It's just kind of against the idea, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just get this one up and running and get it to the point where I can add a VM and then just do it on this one. I don't know. We'll see. That's probably what I'll do now that I think about it, just because I want to get this one up and running and getting towards verification and hopefully start making some serious money. At hopefully around, like I said, 40 to 45 cents an hour would be my guess. There's people that are making over like around 60, I think is the median on it. So we'll see. There aren't that many of them on the network yet. But yeah. BW is back. What is B? Oh, bathwater. Got it. I wasn't catching what the BW was. I'm a little slow on the uptake. Some weirdo is my hero. Oh my gosh, that was the funniest video that Yankee made. Oh my god, that was so funny. So funny. All right. Let me see what else was I will eventually talk about GPUAutoPilot because there's been a lot of good things happening there. Let's see. Oh, I'm really close on this. So I have a guide that I'm working through in like kind of just general knowledge and things you should think about before diving headfirst into GPU rental. I know Panda in his last video actually touched on it. Like, make sure you can do VLANs. So it's been good. A lot of the customers I've been talking to know about this ahead of time. So people have been listening, which is good. But yeah, I will that will be offered free of charge in exchange for email so that I can keep better in touch with people that are watching my videos. But yeah. But that right now I've been working. One of the things I've been doing is I've been working with Claude. And one of the things I did was, look, I have so many things I want to do. Help me prioritize. And so I did that. And, with some goals and specific things I wanted to accomplish, all these things. And it basically put things in priority order. Have I been following that? No. life's been getting in the way. And like getting the desk put together. I had a consulting call today, doing customer service for the auto script. Things like that have been kind of getting in the way. So I got to get back focused in getting that done, doing all that. And there's a couple videos I need to do, which obviously I need to do the auto script video. So that's next on after I get the general like PDF done, then the video for the auto script is next. But what it doesn't have in there is building another rig. But I want to build that rig. So that's going to get done probably first because I love building rigs. I mean, gosh, it's like I get the itch like every 2 months. Well, I get the itch earlier than that, but there's only so many times you can fork out money to actually buy something like this, because this was expensive. This was definitely expensive, but I did the math. It should pay itself off in a little over 2 years, something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. And I did it against the 6,000, the 4,500, and the 4,000. The 5,000 came out slightly ahead of the 6,000. The biggest difference though was, unless I got the Max Q version, the regular workstation one is too high for this case. So I needed something that was like no higher than the connector. And so that's what made the most sense for that case. IotaPie, welcome. How you doing? It might be worth your time to play with Hermes. Great you mentioned that. So what enable it? Max, you have to get on Hermes OpenClaw wagon. Yes. So it's funny you mentioned that. So the one I was just talking about taking off and doing the install script on, it's not going to stay on Vast. That one is going to become my what am I trying to say? Is going to become my LLM machine that I will then have on a different machine. On a VM, I'll have a Hermes agent running on that. So I'm definitely going Hermes, not OpenClaw. So that is definitely the plan. But right now, I have been focused on learning as much as I can about one tool, and that's Claude. And I know you guys probably get tired of me talking about Claude, but one of the things, I don't know if you guys watch Network Chuck, but he's talked about this. He's like, there are people that are in the constant state of sharpening the knife, learning more and more and more and more, and never get around to actually cutting anything with it. And that's what he's like, look, I need to stop sharpening the knife and I need to start cutting. I need to start doing something with the knowledge I have. And there's always massive amounts of information coming out. I mean, this week, new version of ChatGPT, whatever their model is. I guess it is ChatGPT or just GPT 5.5, I believe they came out with. So that was big news this week. So everybody's doing comparisons between ChatGPT 5.5 and Opus 4.7, which came out the previous week. There is so much AI that you can get just drowned in the information. So now what I'm focused on is, what can I do with Claude? What do I want to do next with Claude? That's what I'm focused on, and trying to make sure that I'm using it in the most efficient ways possible, because I have been running out of tokens. So I'll be in a 5-hour window, and on the first level, the $17 to $20 level, depending on if you're paying monthly or yearly. Yeah, I had been running out during a 5-hour window. On top of that, last week I ran out of the weekly token. So I'm like, okay. So last week I upgraded to Max, and well, because I have to. So I upgraded to Max, and I want to make sure though that I have the ability to keep using it as much as possible, continue to learn, sharpening the knife through doing as opposed to just learning. And there were a number of things that this guy Nick, shoot, I can never remember his name, but I like his videos because he's very much, how do you make better use of whatever tool he's talking about? and he does a lot of Claude content. And right now he's like, if you're going to use anything, use Claude as the best. He's like, it may not always be the best, but right now, more often than not, it is the one that's been on top. So that's what he recommends, and learn it. A lot of things I was already talking about that I'd already gotten to through basically kind of, thinking about what retro Mike, what Network Chuck said. And so yeah. So anyway, so I'm trying to get as much as I can out of that. But one of the other tools I definitely want to learn is Hermes. I've heard some really, really good things about that. There's Lawrence, I don't know, it's Lawrence Tech. Anyway, he's been talking about Hermes, and there's been a few other like NAS YouTubers, I believe, that have been talking about Hermes as well. Digital Spaceport has talked about Hermes. So it's gaining traction, and it seems to have more, like when you first install it, it has more ability, and it has the ability to learn more than OpenClaw, where OpenClaw is you have to give it a lot more structure, and OpenClaw is a lot more work to get up and running to a functional level than Hermes. At least that's what I've heard. So we'll see, but I definitely want to get on Hermes. All right, Swamp 7 is here. Hello, sir. Let me see here. So anyway, so the LLM machine is going to have a 4090. So I think that'll be good. Has 48 gig of RAM in it. So it's got a decent amount of RAM. That's literally you, Red Panda. Wow. See, I just completely ignored it because I'm focused on Claude right now. I'm not watching any of the Chat GPT content. But 5.5 is 12 times the cost of 5.4. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. That seems to be more more in line with where Claude has been. I know Claude was always more expensive than Chat GPT. Enable Max, FYI, can't use Claude with agents like Hermes. Oh no, I know that. I was going to use it with the Hermes LLM model, the local LLM model. So yeah, no, I'm not using it with any of the Frontier models. It'll either be Gemma 4, which I don't think that works great with Hermes, if I remember correctly, but I'll use a Hermes specific model that I've heard good things about. So we'll see. AutoPilot enable, been pushing using Qwen 3.6 locally and passing the plans on to ChatGPT, and he feeds back a refined plan to Qwen. I mean, that is definitely a way of saving coins. I know for me, like when I'm doing code, one of the things I do want to do is I want to start using Gemini and identifying Gemini to do like just basic factory search, because it's really good at that. So like if I just have general knowledge that I need information about, I don't waste any of my Claude tokens or any of my Claude, whatever you want to call them, because I'm on a plan. They say, well, they're not really tokens. I'm like, yeah, they're tokens. You have a certain allocation. The other thing, by the way, with Claude is, depending on the time zone you're in, I'm in the central time zone, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday is significantly more expensive. You use significantly more tokens if you do work during that period of time. If you work outside that period of time, you're going to be able to do more work. So keep that in mind. I don't know if any of the other ones do that, but let's see. Okay, you did that. J-Style. So one quick tip is to set a script to type anything in Claude overnight when you are not using it, so it restarts the clock for when you need it later. It queues. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. So basically you want to make sure that you're not losing any of your time. So yeah, if you run out of tokens for a 5-hour period, to run a script to make sure that it restarts once that period of time is over. I have not done that yet. But that's definitely a great idea. No question. Same thing when you get to the day or the week for that matter. It's a good idea for that as well. But one of the things I've been hearing about is making sure, and in fact, I didn't get an answer to this, But from what I've heard, you should really compact at 50% of the context window. Don't wait until 75 to 90. Better to do it at 50%. Anyway, this guy Nick I was just talking about, I'm gonna have to look him up. But he's got a bunch of really good tactics. I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way so I can actually get to my keyboard. Nick Puru, I believe is his name. Let me just double check. And he's got a free school. Yeah, Nick Puru. I am going to put this in the chat. Like I said, no affiliation, just he's very, very much, there's no gatekeeping. He provides the information, and obviously he makes money as a result because people see him as a very knowledgeable source, and not everybody wants to spend the time to learn. So he does one of two things. He either helps people learn so that they can do what he does for a business, or helps businesses who don't want to learn and actually just wants things implemented. So seems to have done pretty well for himself. All right, let me go back up to the chat. Let's see. Enable, what did he say? All right, let's those China open models are very good. Till you get banned, they announced you cannot anymore. Let's see. I'm kind of getting a little out of context, so let me just kind of move past this. Yeah, I think Swamp 7 I know is using OpenClaw. So yeah, he's been spending some tokens. But you know what? If it means you don't have to spend as much on people, that's what they've been talking about. All right, let me catch up on the chat. Yeah, peak rates are annoying for Claude. Yeah, I mean that's why they've got them, because a lot of people like to work in the morning. So yeah, that's obviously their highest demand period. Let's see. Swap 7 Scrollmaster here. You should put the center sticker on those Arctic fans to keep the dust out and running longer. Huh, interesting. When running locally, this is from my AutoPilot. When running locally, you have to be really smart with context window size, because on code bases 128K context window evaporates quick. Yeah, you have to know your limits. Because yeah, the model has to get loaded in, and then your context window has to get loaded in. And if you go beyond the context window limit of your card, now you're loading it into RAM and things slow down a lot. At least that's my understanding. That okay. Well, Enable, we've already had this discussion. I think they nerfed 4.6 because they were trying to undo some of the things that it could do. I hear what you're saying, but if you look at the initial 4.6 measurements before they nerfed it, it's 4.7 is still better than the initial 4.6. So does 4.7 feel significantly better than 4.6? Well, yeah, because 4.6 was having some issues. Definitely ran into a few of those. So AutoPilot, I'm very happy with Codex. I use that exclusively at Cisco. I mean, yeah, I've heard great things about Codex too. I think the bottom line is, if you know something, stick with it. Learn it. They're all good. There's always going to be this going back and forth. One's better than the other, and the other one's better. And everybody has what they like. If you're good with Codex, learn Codex as much as you can, as good as you can. I think going deep in one is going to be much better than going shallow in all of them. Oh, interesting. If you deal with Cisco, you should try their MCP tools. Well, I don't deal with Cisco. 100% need a ton of extra VRAM for KV cache with larger context, but worth it. Yeah, no question. Got it. Put the stickers on. All right. Is AMD going to be utilized on rental platforms with ROCm support getting better? I don't know. I mean, that's obviously up to every platform. I know Vast said they were going to do it. They said that they were doing it. There were a few on there, but then there was no demand. And I think that's really the killer thing is there just isn't enough demand. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. Like I said, I know they were trying to. Now, it's not saying that you can't use it for local LLMs. You could, right now, what I'm really curious about is not so much AMD, but I'm curious about Intel. Intel with their B70s, B60s. Yeah, Alex Zinkin, I think is his last name on YouTube. He just recently did on he's done some other tests on the Intel B series GPUs, and they look pretty impressive, even though they're just GDDR6. The cost of them is way less. I mean, a B70 is $1,000, and it's got 32 gig of RAM, I believe, of 32 gig of VRAM. So that is impressive. Now again, just GDDR6, but still. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Can't feel the difference much anymore because they're so good now. AGI soon. Soon? Or are we already there? I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I get frustrated. It doesn't hallucinate, it just gets stupid. But I mean, maybe that's just part of being a human and replicating being a human. No human is perfect. So, except for my wife, in case she's still listening. Anyway, let's see. Use Vulkan with AMD. Interesting. Industry uses CUDA for a reason. NVIDIA has a moat. Yeah, I mean it's kind of the default. Okay, I caught up pretty much. So, yeah, CUDA is greater than anything Intel. Only thing is virtualized without license. Yes, that was interesting because Craft Computing did a video recently about taking a B70, Battle Mage 70, and which has 32 gig, and actually virtualizing it into 4 8 gig GPUs. Now, wasn't easy. It was easy to set up. Wasn't great results. I'll just put it at that. But it's nice to know that you could do something like that. And as Intel matures, it'll be pretty interesting to see how some of that may turn out. NVIDIA pushing hard on software now and open source. I hope so. Scotter says, how much do you charge for storage on Vast? I charge 25 cents. I'm trying to remember exactly. It's 25 cents is what I have it set at. And I believe that's per gig per 30 days, I think is how it's set up. I'm trying to remember what the exact measurement is. That's right. I got to relog in because I just restarted my computer. I'm just double checking because I don't set these very often. Kind of set and forget them. All right. So what do I have it set at? Well, what is that setting? Yeah, it's dollars per gig per month, and I have it set at 25 cents. And honestly, so if I look at all my rigs put together and go back earnings, and then we do breakdown. So I look at my breakdown. Where is that's kind of bizarre the way that is set up. Okay. So about little over 10% of what I make right now is on storage. So That's pretty good. Now, typically it defaults at 15 cents, so I bump it up to 25 and nobody seems to notice. Bandwidth. By the way, this is interesting. So, bandwidth, I charge more for upload than I do for download. But yet, I'm looking at today, and let's look at a week. Let me go back to the 19th or the 18th, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I look at bandwidth download is it's like 3.75 times more made on download than upload. And my download on a lot of my good rigs is well over a gig. It's like 1.4, 1.5 gig. But yet I don't get verified because my upload, and the upload is so minimal. It doesn't take that much time. So that kind of gets me. And then as far as storage is over the last week was about 12%. Yeah, about 12%, 11 to 12% of the total. So 10 to 12. So it definitely matters. It definitely matters. People kind of think of it as a throwaway. It matters. If I was setting it at 15 cents versus 25, well, I'd be making about $40 to $50 less per week by doing that. So keep that in mind. Download, I charge $3 per whatever. What was it? Let me get out of this. Close that. Let me go back to here. I'm trying to remember. I think it's per terabyte, but I forget. So I think it's $3 per terabyte upload, $2 per terabyte download. That's, I believe, the standard, and I haven't been changing that. Yeah, dollars per terabyte, $3 per terabyte upload, $2 per terabyte download is what I've been using. But again, it doesn't amount to much. It really doesn't. AutoPilot, sidebar question for you. What you think of Microsoft offering early retirement? I wasn't aware of that, actually. I mean, I think that is the smartest thing for companies to do, is to offer, I don't want to say lucrative, but fair early retirement, things that could get people who have been saving that are close to retirement. You offer them a good retirement package. Yeah, they'll retire and then they can do other things, but it helps get them there. Yeah, I mean, again, I see people that are over 55. I think companies are looking hard at that. And that's how they will. I mean, everybody really piled on with Oracle doing the layoffs. But I don't have any idea what their packages were. Maybe they were really lucrative packages. I don't know. But yeah, companies are going to do what companies are going to do. This is nothing new. We've been talking about, we're in tough economic times. Inflation is up. The economy, other than AI, is not doing well. It's become a greater and greater portion of the economy. And will it provide enough? Because right now it's more about the building of the AI is the economy. But the AI itself isn't adding much revenue to the economy at this point. I don't know. Is the bubble going to burst? If the bubble bursts, man, our economy is in the shitter. If that happens, but I don't know. Right now, if you want to assure yourself or have the best chance of getting a job, if you end up in a layoff, start playing with AI, get trained, get some certifications, do those things to make yourself more employable. Know the tools that people are looking for and get knowledgeable in those tools. Is really the best thing to do. Let's see. AutoPilot, so they can spend more time on AI. All right, let me see. How do you charge for bandwidth? It's in the settings on Vast. I mean, it's just to the right. You have internet. And then off to the right is dollars per terabyte up with an up arrow, and dollars per terabyte down has a down arrow. That's upload and download. So that's how you do it. There aren't all not all the platforms do that. Certainly, I mean, Salad, you have no control, so it doesn't do any of that. But some of the other platforms don't charge for it. So this is just specific to Vast, and I'm sure some other platforms do, and some other platforms don't. Uh, enable Max is evil like AWS. Download free, but upload gets you. Hey, be careful, Enable. All right, let's see. You have it set at 20. Oh, you have it set at 20. Well, let me know if that's successful for you, because man, that's a lot. But I mean, a terabyte's a lot of data too. And then like I said, what I charge for storage is $25 per gigabyte per month. And like I said, that's been about a little over 10% of my revenue is for just storage. Deal is age plus years of service. If over 70, wait a minute. If they're over 70, they qualify? People that are still working there at 70? I mean, I'm not saying that people over 70 can't work. I'm not saying that at all, but I would assume that people that were working at Microsoft, that they would have made a pretty good living and had decided they were going to retire. So I don't know. Bubble pops when? See, everybody thinks about this, it's just going to collapse. It's not going to collapse. We're going to see the little things, like the story that came out that basically said, you know what? OpenAI isn't going to really buy all those things, all that memory that they had letters of intent. That's all they had. It was a small paper agreement that said, yeah, we're going to buy this much. And now rumor has it they're backing out of it. So I still think it'll be another 2.5 months before we really know. If we start seeing prices drop significantly, then we know that was real. But I can tell you, letters of intent are not worth the paper they're written on. Not until they become a contract. God, I can still remember one of my business stories when I worked for Motorola. I went over to China and we celebrated a letter of intent. The first and only time that I ever threw up from drinking alcohol. Literally the first and only time. Long story, I won't get into it, but I guess I will get into it, because the reason why I never threw up from alcohol was because I knew my limits. The problem in this case was we were eating a lot of like raw spongy fish as like appetizers and things. And then I was drinking alcohol, but I wasn't feeling any of it because that was all getting soaked up by that spongy fish. So I stopped drinking when I was like, I've had enough. But then I kept getting more and more and more drunk, like over the next 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, it was not fun. But anyway, up to that point, it was fun. And believe me, I had to carry as I was getting more drunk, because I wasn't drunk when I started carrying this guy, but I helped carry our finance guy, who the customer intentionally drank under the table. We had to help him back. But he was already starting to sober up because they hit him early in the evening. So he was already starting to sober up by the time we got back to the hotel. Because we walked, it was about 3/8 of a mile from where we had dinner to the hotel. But unfortunately my fun was just beginning, and we were flying out the next day. And again, I can basically say on one hand how many times I've been hungover in my life. And being in Beijing, flying out the next day and waking up the next day just feeling like death. Actually called a coworker and said, I'm in rough shape. All I need you to do is come to my room and just shove everything in a suitcase. I'm going to do everything I can, hop in the shower and get dressed, but it's going to be rough. So we had a 5-hour, I think it was a 5-hour flight from Beijing to Narita, Tokyo, that airport. And those 5 hours were rough. And then I was okay after that. So the 12-hour flight from Narita to Chicago, I was fine at that point. But wow, that was yeah. Let's see. I gotta probably know your age. Say 50 plus 20. Oh, I see what you're saying. If that equals 70, you or over, you qualify. Got it. Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. I would take it. F it. Get a panda. um. All right. Let's see. I missed a few things that I was telling that story. Let's see. The more you know. Yeah. If I had to guess, it would be when ChatGPT and Anthropic go public. Oh, is when. Oh, I see. When it pops. Yeah, possibly. You had said it's 12 per terabyte. Nice. Like I said, great if you can get it. I mean, the amount that I make on at $3 isn't really that much. So if I set it at 12, yeah, I'm making 4 times as much, but 4 times a little is still 4 times a little. So it's not gonna really move the needle much. But if you can get it, great. Assuming it was some sort of sushi is what I think you mean. Yeah, depending on how regulated that stuff is, it can hit like a truck. Oh, yeah, I know. No, it was rice wine was what we were drinking. There's no standard proof from what I hear. So it was rice wine. So it wasn't really, it wasn't the, it wasn't the proof. It was the amount. I never really keep track. I just know how I feel. And this obviously when I was a lot younger, but I know how I feel and I would know, okay, enough. Um, so yeah. Um, Too many stories from buddies stationed in Korea about Sochi destroying people. Yeah. Where was the most beautiful place you have been? I mean, I've been to the Great Wall. I wouldn't say that was beautiful. We got on a cloudy day, so it was okay. But that was a cool place to visit. Definitely pretty in the mountains and such. God, most beautiful place. I would probably say Zurich. That was, I mean, I was only there for a day, but we had dinner. There was a lake. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So I would say Zurich, and I've only been to Switzerland that one day. That one day. But man, it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. Just trying to think if there was any other. I mean, Brazil, there's parts of it that are beautiful, but I wouldn't say the areas I was in were beautiful. I'm just trying to think of any other places that I've been internationally. Okay. One other one would have been Manila. We went to Pagsanhan Falls. Now I will say I was a lot lighter than I am now. So, but we took with a coworker, took a canoe down this creek, river, kind of, I mean, we had to be carried over rocks in the canoe. So between the two of us, we definitely were over 300 pounds, no question. I think at that point I weighed 190 and the other person would certainly have been over 110, probably was about 135 would have been what I would guess. So, but yeah, they would carry us over these rocks. Anyway, we went to this nice falls. It was very pretty in the area we finally got to, but where we started out was like slums on either side of this creek and very quickly got into a nice area. But AutoPilot said, spent months in Switzerland early in my career, agree on the beauty. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Interesting you mentioned that. So I haven't been all over the Middle East. I was in Saudi Arabia for 2.5 months, all over the Riyadh province. There are some pretty spots. There was one, this was just west of Riyadh, where there's like this cliff. And that was actually the last night we were outside of Riyadh. I don't know if it was the last night we were in Saudi Arabia, but certainly the last night we were outside of Riyadh, the city of Riyadh. we were on top of this cliff where we had placed a mast and transmitter, and so then we drive around taking signal levels. So basically we were doing like a manual coverage survey. That's what they wanted, and they were paying for it. So I did this 3 months before my wedding. I was in Saudi Arabia for 2.5 months. I came back and was married 2 weeks later. Whole nother story. I won't go into all that, but let's just say was able to put some money aside. It paid for my honeymoon. Anyway, but we were sitting up there. It was a nice breeze because this was hot. This was in May. I actually take that back. It was June. So it was hot, but and super nice breeze. And we were listening to Armed Forces radio, and we were just chilling out there. It was nice. It was really nice. Middle of nowhere. Nobody was bothering us. It was just peaceful. So peaceful. So yeah, I mean, that was a very pretty part of Saudi Arabia, I will say. But yeah, I wouldn't say Saudi Arabia is the place where I'd say, oh my gosh, the beauty. Um, while I was in Saudi Arabia, I saw 4 women, 4 women's faces. That was it. The whole 2.5 months. So yeah. Anyway, all right, let me see here. Okay, I'm banned from China. God, the funny story. I won't go into that story. I got lots of stories, but I won't go into that one. That could offend somebody. I was young and stupid. Where was the darkest sky for the stars view? Well, I probably, like I said, where I was in Riyadh, we were nowhere near any lights. So yeah, the stars were lit up. So that's an easy one. Aviano was one of the top places for me. Each place has its own appeal. Yeah, I haven't been to Aviano. I haven't been to a lot of places in Europe. I mean, I've flown through London. I think once. I was in Madrid. We need more Mac stories. I was in Madrid, but again, I was there for I was supposed to be there for a day. It ended up becoming 2 when I was very jet lagged, couldn't go to sleep. And by the time I went to sleep, by the time I woke up, the plane was already gone. So called back to home office and said, oh my God, I am so sorry. They're like, you're not the first. You won't be the last. Don't let it happen again. Everybody gets a one-time dispensation. It happens. Don't worry about it. Spend a day, do whatever work you can while you're there, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Like, all right, cool. So that was all it was. But yeah, that was panic. That was absolute panic. Let's see. I want to visit Sweden or Norway or Czech Republic. I will say I've never been to Sweden or Norway. Those have a lot of appeal to me, and I know my wife had mentioned that she would like to visit there as well. Deserts are great 4 stars, basically wherever light pollution is the least. Yeah, I mean, like I said, once you get outside the city, like I said, so we spent. It's kind of funny. So we generally spent our nights in police departments because we were doing the coverage survey for the Riyadh Province Police Department. But when we couldn't, we did spend them in the desert. We did one time spent money on a local motel, hotel, whatever you want to call it. We're like, never again. Never again. So we decided we'd be happier spending time in the car. So I can still remember there was one miserable night that for whatever reason we had placed this pump up mast with the antenna at the top in the middle of all these sand dunes. And by the way, when we put this thing down, it's attached to the car. The car is what is holding it in place. So that's one of the cars that we sleep in. And then the other one was the car I was driving. But, we park near each other. So we're protecting each other kind of through the night and that type of thing. Nobody ever bothered us. But this one was like in the middle of the dune. We got no wind and it was hotter than blazes. It was the most miserable night. So yeah, that one wasn't good. But most of the other ones we picked better locations. So, yeah, we didn't really run into too many sandstorms when we were there. The one thing that's really you got to watch out for is if you're driving at night, which we tried to minimize as much as possible, is you have to watch out for camels, because you hit a camel, you're dead, because they're tall. And if you take out their legs, where's it going to land? It's going to land on top of the cab and it's going to crush you. And we actually saw the ramifications of that happening. And it just literally pancakes the front of the cab. So we were really careful about that. But there was one night where we were like, okay, we're done. And we really want to get back and then get back to Riyadh. And so we drove in the dark. But we had this camel track, which is what they call like their dirt roads. Camel track, we needed to go from here to here, but the road went from here to here, the paved road. We're like, well, there's a camel track that goes this way. Like, okay, we're just gonna go this way. Except the camel track, shall we say, wasn't exactly marked. We didn't have GPS like we do now. This was in 92. So Google Maps did not exist. So we were working on a compass and being like, okay, we got to keep heading this direction. And we knew that there were lights towards the destination. So we should eventually see the lights. We didn't see the lights, but we came across a freshly paved road. We're like, well, this road, because it's almost parallel to the direction we were going, it's got to be going. We were heading just east of where we needed to be going. Our path was just east of where we needed to be going. But we ran into this road and it took us directly where we needed to go. So that was a little risky. That was definitely a little risky. And then on the way back, we're like, we're not doing that again. We're going the paved roads. So we went the paved roads back. And that's when we came across a little like Datsun like truck that was completely pancaked with a camel on the side of the road. So yeah, it's something you got to be watching out for. So we always try to make sure, if possible, if we could, we never tried to like overtake people. Like we get at night, we have time. So it's best to be riding in a pack and don't be at the front of the pack. That was our strategy. You see any camel spiders? No, but we did see a scorpion while we were there. Actually the scorpion ran up I forget what the locals wear, but they're like, robes, whatever. And it ran up his leg and he like got up and got it out as quickly as possible. But thankfully it was, so the thing with scorpions is the smaller they are, the more poisonous they are in general. And this one was a very big, it looked like a very scary scorpion. But that's when he educated me on it. He's like, yeah, that one would have hurt. Not saying it wouldn't have, but it wasn't going to kill me. I'm like, oh, interestingly enough. Rizzo, hello. It's story time with Max tonight, I guess. Just happens to be the way things have been going tonight. Most animals return into roadkill was called dub-dubs because that's the sound they make when you hit them. Oh, trust me, when you hit camels, you don't hear dub-dubs. You don't hear nothing. You probably don't even hear when you hit their legs. That's why we call those grunts crunchies, because that's the sound they make when they don't get the F out of the way. I suppose you probably would hear a crunch before you actually got hit by the actual camel. I would say a moose is shorter, slightly shorter than a camel, but it would probably do about the same. The thing is with a moose is it would probably hit the hood first before it slid into the windshield. So you might have a better chance. I'm a physics guy. So it kind of depends on how fast you hit them at. Obviously, if you hit them going 60 miles an hour, yeah, by the time it starts falling, you're probably already at the cab. Anyway, sorry to be so morbid. Oh, we are talking about M1 Abrams tanks. Got it. All right. Well, one other thing I did want to talk about tonight let's see how many people are still here. Let's see here. Where? Okay, here we go. There we go. We still got 30 people. Okay. Is GPU Autopilot, because I have been really pleased with it. I gotta log in because, like I said, I restarted my machine. Yes, I am human. Signing in. But I haven't set up telemetry yet. And since we're an hour and almost hour and 45 minutes in and it's late, I'm not going to do it tonight. Probably will do it at some point, but I need to set up telemetry on units. And I will be doing that. That's a really cool feature that will give you a lot of the information that you see on the Vast dashboard, but in a central point. I right now look at the Vast dashboard and GPU Autopilot, but I would like to have like a single point where I can look at things. So, but anyway, definitely take a look at that. I think that's a cool new feature. It one of the things I was asking Enable about this, there's a couple different ways that you can implement things like this. You can have it run like a cron job and be like an extra process, or you can more integrate it. And in this particular case, he integrated it into systemd, so it's very, very light on the Vast machine, as well as it doesn't affect anything with Vast. So it's not going to prevent you from running a VM like running a cron job would. So that was kind of my main concern, because I have a few rigs that are VM capable, and I wanted to make sure this wasn't going to prevent it. So one of the things I am going to do is I am going to install it on my newest one I talked about with the 2 AIOs in it. So it's Liquid Supreme 5090 is what's in it. And since that one is due to expire tomorrow at 8:36, the reason why I'm making it expire is because I'm at like 99.5%, but I've been rented consistently, so I'm not giving Vast a chance to verify me when you're rented that much. So I'm gonna have it be unrented for at least a week, or at least be rented. If it's gonna rent, it's gonna rent at a verified price. And we'll see where it goes from there. It'll rent interruptible if somebody wants to rent it at that price, and they can still run the test, the verification test, if it's on an interruptible job, because it'll just interrupt the job to run the test. So, but anyway, since that one is probably going to be on rented, I'm going to run that on that machine, and then I'm going to make sure that it doesn't affect the ability to do a VM. I don't think it will. Can't imagine it will. But anyway, I will tell you, Enable is hard at work, and continuing to improve the GPU Autopilot. So if you have any second thoughts, I do have. Shoot, now I got to go look at it. I never remember what the code is, but I do have a code for 30 days for free for GPU Autopilot. I don't get anything for it. I'm completely okay with that. I am scrolling back through my chat with him because we talk a lot. Okay, that was all from today. And I know we didn't go over that today. What the heck is it? You know what? Hey, Enable, can you do me a favor? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. No, you pinned other messages in here. Can you go through and pin the message that has my code? That would be really helpful. Oh, no, I found it. And I'm going to pin it now. Pin message. There we go. Oh yeah, pin it. Yes, I want to pin it. So it's max 100, and it will get you 30 days free on Autopilot. So feel free to use it. All right, let me check some more messages. Doom Boots, I get the feeling your team was playing Rock the Casbah not nonstop out there. No. Actually, funny thing if you're talking about in Saudi Arabia, I actually became a not Robert Palmer. What the hell's his name? Shoot. I just drew a blank. Anyway, there was a like jazz rock singer, and actually not the ones I just made, but the previous ones, that was the style I was going for. Anyway, I had one tape to listen to almost the entire time. I had maybe 2 tapes, I think, but I didn't like the other tape as much, so I listened to this thing all the time. And anyway, what is GPU Autopilot? So GPU Autopilot is a service. Go to gpuautopilot.com, and it basically sets your prices for you. Basically, you give it the parameters, and it will set prices based on what you said. So right now it's a little aggressive on the pricing. It's right up my alley in the way I price things. But for those people that like to set things higher, I have been talking to Enable about that. So that I'm sure is a work in progress. I asked them today about, hey, can you set a negative price delta? So in other words, you're pricing yourself higher than the competitor. So does it work with RunPod and SimplePod? It does work with RunPod. I don't believe it works with SimplePod. So yes, with RunPod, it does. And it does run with Nosana. So here I can actually, let's see. FAQ. What does all of this is in there. By the way, the actual AI is good on their site. I've used it and it's been able to answer my questions. So I'm looking to see. Interesting. What competitors does the agent consider? The agent matches competitors by GPU model, GPU count, verification status, and your selected region. Only matches with 95% reliability are considered. The cheapest valid competitor is used for undercutting decisions. So it doesn't just pick the cheapest one out there. It has criteria as to who your competitors are. I would like to see some of those be more modifiable. Like if I wanted it, I'd only want to be going above 99% or greater reliability. I've talked to him about GPU count before, but I think that should be settable as well. So anyway, he's working on a whole bunch of things. But like I said, I'm using it. I depend on it, and it really has helped me become more profitable by using it. Let's see. Vast, QuickPod, and Okta are live now. RunPod is next. Oh, okay, next on the list. My bad. I knew it was one of the things we had talked about. Any marketplace is eligible as long as they have API access. So maybe it doesn't work with Nosana just because it doesn't make sense. Just like it wouldn't make sense with Salad. So yeah, you're probably right there. Alfarez 012. Good point. Good point. At this point, I don't think it does fan control. That would be cool if it did. That's a great feature request. Because that would mean that you wouldn't have to run the fan control on via like a cron job, which is kind of the easiest way to do it right now. Interesting. Great idea there. Great idea. Oh, RunPod is fixed? I didn't think RunPod pricing was fixed. I had no idea about SimplePod. Interesting. Okay. I was not aware. I thought community at the very least wasn't fixed. Although pretty much it seems like the community pool with RunPod seems to be going away. Or it sounds like it's going to be going away. I could not agree more, Mage Man Bro. Salad needs to commit. Just decide between gamers or actual compute renting. I agree. Completely agree. This is why I've been saying it all along. You guys, if you want to be able to charge more, you need to provide reliable service. And who better to provide reliable service than absolutely dedicated resources? So, yeah. So totally agree. All right, I'm gonna go for another 10 minutes. I'm gonna cut it off at 2 hours, 11 p.m. It's not my bewitching hour or anything, but yeah. Do you guys want me to open up the before I go out? Do you guys want me to open up the GPU or the motherboard? Which one? I'm gonna do this. I'll open up one or the other. Let me put together a poll. Which piece of hardware do you want me to unbox? Motherboard or GPU? Make it really simple. One of those two. It's pretty much, the other ones are not very exciting to open. And we'll see. I'll give it like 5 minutes. I'll open it up. Well, I'll give it 3 minutes. And we can go from there and see what you guys decide you want to do. Like I said, it is a cool motherboard. In fact, it has an IPMI port on it. But it's power delivery. I forget what it is, but it's certainly not as strong as the power delivery on the other one, but plenty for a 9900X. Wondering if Vast will see interest in B70s. That's what I'm really curious about. GPU is definitely more interesting. This is, like I said, this is the box, people. How interesting could it possibly be if the box looks like this? All right, there we go. New build, yes, new build. New build will be Pro RTX Pro 5000 is going to be the GPU. It's going to be on Unraid 7.3, which allows you to build Unraid without having a USB flash drive in there, which is pretty cool. This is going to be the motherboard. Pro Workstation B550M Ace SE has IPMI, which is basically like having KVM on a motherboard. Server motherboards, workstations, they are the ones that normally have this. So this is kind of a really cool motherboard. Saw somebody on the Vast Discord mention that motherboard. I like it. So that's cool. Like I said, a 9900X. I got it for like almost $100 off because of it being open box, even though it wasn't open box. They couldn't find the open box one. And it's interesting because I saw the open box come off their site and then come back. And I'm like, I bet somebody bought the open box. They couldn't find it. They sold it and then it took it out. Or I shouldn't say that. I should say they took it off the shelf to pick, but it wasn't actually open box. So that when then they reconciled it, the open box ended up back on the shelf, even though it really didn't. So anyway, I just thought it was really odd. All right. So right now we are sitting at 70% GPU and we have 10 votes. We got 30 people here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Only 10 people care. 7 people voted for GPU, 30% voted for motherboard. I kind of wanted to really open the motherboard, but hey, if you guys want the GPU, it is your choice. Is the 5000 just to cut down 6000? Well, I mean, not exactly. I believe it's a different chipset than the 5090, which is the RTX Pro 6000 chipset as well, or core. It's more like a 5080 if I remember correctly. Cookie Man, $20 super chat. You are nuts, man. He says motherboard. Do I hear $21 to do the GPU? Otherwise, we're going with motherboard. We're definitely going with motherboard. You know, sorry, I got to go where the money is, man. The cookie mailman, you are nuts. You are nuts. But hey, thank you. I appreciate that super chat, and it was nice because I know it showed up on the screen. All right, I will give it another minute, and then I will open the motherboard. In fact, this one is still sealed, so I got to get my X-Acto knife out. Actually, technically, my wife's X-Acto knife. All right. I'm going to call it a minute, and I'm going to end the poll. Sorry, guys. Got to go where the money is. So thank you, sir. All right. Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll just open up both of them. I'll open up both of them. All right. Pretty simple packaging. So I'm not going to get too excited by, you know, you guys all know what motherboards look like when you're taking it out. Nice and crinkling, static, free. Here's the interesting part about it. So typically, when you look at a motherboard, you look at it this way. So your CPU is turned 90 degrees from your IO, which normally in a case like this, that could have been a problem because it would have been blowing the air this direction. But because I have a, dude, we'll find both. Okay. Thank you, Cookie Man. Appreciate it. Which obviously it would have been blowing into the side of the case. So all the air moves this way, but because it's a non-tower, it's blowing air down. And so all the air is going to be blowing through that cooler. So it'll be fine with what I have. But that's what's interesting about this motherboard. The RAM's on top, kind of similar to like an Epic motherboard would be. And then you have one M.2 over here. And then you got another M.2 right there. You have an MCIO here. And I think these are two U.2. Or are those, hold on. Oh, those aren't connectors. Those are chips. So yeah, you've got an MCIO right there. Right there. And then just to the right of that is a U.2 connector. Which kind of looks like, I haven't really looked at it before, but it kind of looks like a USB connector, but it's not. It's not what it is. Now it's interesting. I guess it's not on this one. That is interesting. Not that I would have needed it on this board, but I have noticed on more and more boards that they have a separate, like another PCIe connection to help power the PCIe port. I do not see that on this board. On the MSI board, they did. But again, this is only a 300 watt board. So between the PCIe and the connector, it'll be fine. So anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to building with that. So let me put this back away. And then, that's kind of interesting. I hadn't seen that before. Just behind the IO port, there's like this device, like this vertical device. I don't know if that's a, normally when we see devices like that, it's a capacitor when they're that size, but they're usually round, not like square like that. Huh. Interesting. Not sure what it is. All right, let me put this away. Then I will open up the GPU. I had actually considered getting an actual Epic micro ATX board. They have deep ATX boards, and I actually need to send an email back to, unless I already did. I'll have to look, just double check, see if I ever sent that email back to InWin to say, hey, update your specs. You do support deep MTX boards, not just 9.6 by 9.6. So anyway, all right, let me put this to the side. All right, let me do one more poll and see. Would you guys be interested? Guys, be interested in a live stream build? Yes. No. And specifically tomorrow. Yeah, let me know. All right. Next poll's up. All right. So now let's get to the GPU. Like I said, this packaging is so uninspired, but I don't care. It's just packaging. So I need to cut right here. Come on. All right. Should be able to get the stretch wrap, saran wrap, whatever you want to call this, off of this thing. Okay, come on. Holy crap. There we go. Give you a little bit of ASMR. All right. I'm going to try not to do a DJ. I'm going to open this up carefully. And a 3. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Of course, she's in a wrap. All right. Pull this apart. This is heavy. Holy crap, that's heavy. Before I get to that, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, so it comes with a splitter, this, that problem connector to 2 PCIe. I won't need that, but it is interesting. It's 2 instead of 4, like you would normally get with a 5090. So it has that type of connector on it. Put that over there. Peel off that. This is a much more substantial card than I expected. I don't know, it just looked really small, but it is. Ooh, peels and everything. So here you have it. God, I'm glad I opened this. This is a really cool looking card. Like I said, peel needs to come off. Remove film before use. So yeah, it's heavy. That is some substance, density. And then the power connectors back here. And then the front, you have your standard. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Have your standard 4 connectors. Sure, it's probably 4 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI like it normally is. Nope, 4 DisplayPorts, no HDMI. Whatever. I mean, who's going to use this card? I mean, I suppose people could use this card for that, but and then the nice thing about it, it's a blower card. And you say, nice thing, it's going to be loud as hell. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a little loud. But in the case it's in, it's going to blow everything out the front along with the way the air is flowing inside the unit. So it'll be good for that. And again, only a 2-slot card. So it will fit very nicely in the case. And again, it's just slightly higher than the actual, IO attachment point. So yeah, this is a sweet card. Very sweet card. So I guess it's only got that one peel. Yep. You guys want the peel? I can get you the peel. Let's see. I don't know what that sounded like on your end, but it felt satisfying on mine. So nice matte finish to it. So I'm looking forward to putting that together. That is for sure. All right. For you case, kind of. It might be about as high as a 4U case, but think of it more like a Johnsbow case. Swamp 7. It's an in-win MS07 case. So it's kind of like a NAS-like case where you have the top level, which has a micro ATX board, and then the bottom level has drive base. So eventually I'm going to need to get a reverse. I got to go back and look at the notes, but it's a reverse Slim SAS to SATA cable. It has to be reverse. And then I'll be able to start putting some drives in. I have one 10 gig drive right now, and drives are expensive as hell. So not sure what I'm going to do yet for that, but I could use some more space. I'm already over 50% filled on my NAS. So need to somehow consolidate some data and figure it out. I may decide my backup NAS that I don't know if it's been operating at all, honestly. It's in an old HP. I might end up repurposing that for something else and then taking the drives out of that and repurposing that into this unit. I'm thinking that's probably what I'll do. Right now, that is only being used for a backup unit. So as long as my data right now is good on my NAS, I'm good on the backup. I could completely reformat everything and be good. And I have, like I said, I have one 10 terabit drive. I've got 2 terabit drives and a 5 terabit drive in that. So I would be able to get 25 gig of storage pretty easily. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but that's kind of the way I'm leaning right now. I had a backup, like a 3-2-1 type, where I was going to put something over at Goat's location, but I haven't been able to get a partner on it to provide a NAS unit. So, and right now I have a greater need for additional storage at this point. So, no, it's 128. So not ideal. It would be better if it was, I mean, 128 should be fine for a single RTX Pro 5000. But yeah, 256 gig would have been ridiculously expensive. 192 would have been worse, actually, I think. So I have 4 32 gigabyte modules, and it's non-ECC, which I know will make you upset, Swamp 7. I get it. Let's see. I didn't even check the results. Oh, how many votes did I get? 12 votes. Okay. All right. I'll have to figure out what time. In fact, let me check. It'll probably be evening. I gotta check. What time is the concert? No, 2026, not 2025. It is at 3 p.m. Might do it a 2-parter. Probably go on because I know. So that's the thing. Don't really want to conflict with Rabid. So I'll probably send him a message to see if he is streaming tomorrow. He probably is. He usually goes until about 1:30. So I'll probably do evening, most likely. Most likely evening. I don't know how far I'll get into it. If I will actually load Unraid on it tomorrow night, we'll see. So the concert. So I'm in a choir, or have been in a choir, and it's wide variety of music. Some pop, some choral, lot of different musicals, those types of things. So a lot of variety and a lot of fun. This is a guy that he's been my director for a long time. I have worked with him or sang with him for a very, very long time. Sang with his brother first when I was in college. So known him for a really, really long time. Anyway, having the hip replacement, I couldn't sing this fall or this spring. I mean, I sang in the fall. I took last spring off because of my schedule changing where I was working second shift. So I couldn't sing. So there's been 2 springs in a row that I couldn't sing. And then up until 2 years ago, I had been taking off because of my wife's health problems. And I had to make sure that I was not going to get her infected with what she was going through. Anyway, long story short, I had just gotten back to it and I have not been able to spend an entire year, but the concert should be free. I paid to be in the group, so they should have at least let me in for free. So I like to say hi to people, like to hear the concert. So that's at 3 p.m. So it kind of fits right in the middle of everything, unfortunately. But I would really like to go. So I'm going to plan on going to that tomorrow. So I do not have the 72 gig model. I have the 48 gig model. Magman bro, do not make me ban you. No, I am not an alto. And not actually, believe it or not. I'm more of a baritone tenor two. He puts me wherever he needs me. I have a really wide range, and I'm really good at sight reading. So he tries to put me where the tougher music is because I help others that have really good voices but don't have the same ability to read music. I help them pick up on the music quicker. So he loves having me around. I have a good voice. Do I have better voice than everybody else? I don't think so. But I help everybody else be better, I guess is the best way to put it. So, other people would probably argue people do tell me I have a really good voice. But you ever heard Billy Joel get interviewed? Billy Joel's got a great voice, right? He basically says he only sang those songs because either nobody else would sing them or he didn't like the way anybody else sang them. So he just sang them, but he never liked to listen to himself and that's the thing. Every singer is most critical of their own voice. Nobody thinks they sound that good. So yeah, and you have days where you have better voice than others. Like right now, I have a bad voice because I haven't been singing much lately. The more you sing, the better your voice gets. So yeah, that's why when I join the choir, I know I need to be singing a couple times a week, especially at my age, to kind of get everything kind of working really, really well. And so anyway, but all right, either tomorrow, better ears than voice. That is my opinion. Yes. Piano Man. I mean, if you ever tried to sing along with Piano Man, that has a huge wide range in that song. A huge wide range. I have a big range, but that one's especially difficult. So yeah, that goes to show how good of a voice Billy Joel had, and yet he didn't like his own voice. I guess I just found that interesting when I heard him get interviewed once and he said that. I wish mining was like that. The more you mine, the better you get. Well, you do kind of, but that doesn't mean the more profitable you get. You do get better at it and getting it set up and stuff. But Bleach 500, welcome. I've had people ask to sing in their band, and I've had people tell me STFU when I sing LOL. So my big thing and why people knew I had a good voice was so in summer swim teams. I'm sure it's this way a lot around most of the country. You have these summer park district swim teams. They have competitions that compete against other nearby park districts, and it's fun. And there was always a problem with the recording whenever they did the national anthem before the swim meet. And I'm like, geez, why don't we just sing it? So we started singing in a group. And that group got smaller and smaller. And then it just ended up being me and one other woman. And then the other woman was like, I don't want to do it anymore. You just do it by yourself. I'm like, okay. So I just did it by myself for every swim meet, and everybody really appreciated it and always said, oh, you sound great. Da, 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 da. So that was cool. So then I sang the national anthem for my kids' swim meets in college, not in college, in high school. And also at like, they were also on like non-school, not in park district swim teams, like winter swim teams. So this was when you'd have more competitive. So I sang at some of like the regional swim meets as well. So it got to the point where people would see me and be like, hey, you want to sing the national anthem? I'm like, sure. So then my daughter got into cycling. So I used to sing at the velodrome, the national anthem whenever I was there. And then and the biggest event that I sang the national anthem for was at cyclocross national championships when it was in North Carolina, when it was in Asheville. So I sang it right before the women's national championship that year. So that was cool. So yeah. Anyway, it was fun. My next thought was baritone. I just didn't know. $10. My God, Cooking Mailman, you are nuts. $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. Here is a start to a hash rate giveaway. Have a good night. Oh, and don't have a rigged wheel. Okay, well, I will do that tomorrow because I've already gone overtime. So maybe like we'll take a break during the middle of the rig build and I'll do a hash rate giveaway. I gotta, because I don't even have an account or anything. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But thanks, sir. I appreciate it. Hey, this is not a crypto stream. This is a GPU rental stream. I know we talk cryptos now and then. Still do. I still have a love for crypto. Like I said, I still got my foot in it. I mean, I still have 4 Flux nodes operating. I was on 3 and I just did another Flux node. Either you can say I have a glutton for punishment for that project, or just have a love for that project. And I feel like I just have a love for that project. They just keep building and building and building. You have a good night too, Cooking Mailman. I appreciate it. I should say, just like Ohio State, the Ohio State, it's not just Cooking Mailman, it's the Cooking Mailman. Sorry, I'll make sure I make that clarification from now on. So anyway, I always liked Elton John's voice. Yeah, same here. He's definitely got a very pure, good voice. Yeah, I make everyone around me better. Hey, just like Vast.ai. I mean, what has brought me the most satisfaction in my life has always been making others better. Always been that way. Like, and obviously coaching your kids is a little different, but yeah, I mean, I always had much more satisfaction when I enabled my daughter to be her best. I can still remember one time, it was a state championship. I can't remember the year. It was a state championship, and she was racing juniors. I think 15 to 18, or maybe it was 11 to 14. I don't remember what age group she was. Anyway, she was racing juniors, and then immediately after that, she was racing Cat Force. She had to have been 15 to 18 at that point. And she was racing against a rival in both races. She wasn't racing her in the series because she didn't show up enough, but she was a triathlete who didn't respect cyclocross. Just be honest. She didn't respect the sport. If she didn't finish on the top of the podium, she wouldn't show up to the podium. Just the way it was. She would only show up to the podium if she won. So again, state championship, junior race. She has a bunch of trouble in the sand. She doesn't do well. She is sobbing after the race. She walks up to me expecting to get a kind ear. And I just look at her and I say, stop right now. Stop crying. I mean it. Stop crying. And she's just like, what the hell? Like, what are you? I said, exactly. I said, all that feeling, bottle it up, turn it into anger, and you have another race coming up within 15 minutes. Take all that energy, that your frustration, everything you felt in this race, and put it into this next race and do the best you can and go out and have fun. It's no other discussion. We're not talking about your race. We're not talking about anything else. You go do that. She bottled it up. That same girl that she raced against, she beat by almost a minute in the next race. Almost a minute, which is a huge margin. Huge margin. And what was so cool about it was the Cat 4 women that were in that race really, really liked my daughter and didn't necessarily like this other rider as much because, again, she didn't respect the sport. My daughter would converse with these women and they would be like, give her pointers, and it was just a really good, positive experience for her every time she raced with the other women. And when she got a lead and this other girl was in this other pack that was chasing her, when they always came across where she was coming from, like, because the course crosses over itself, like not crosses, but runs next to each other, they would cheer her on. She was coming the other direction with the other girl sitting there in their pack. So it was just pretty funny. Anyway, but that was so neat to see that reaction after the race and that satisfaction after the race. That was just like such a moment in her life up to that point, and just such satisfaction to be like, I had something to do with putting her in the right frame of mind so that she could accomplish her best. And so obviously if it's your own kid, it's really, really special. But if it's anyone else, it's really cool just to see somebody else succeed because of some things that you have suggested or whatever. So anyway, just little story there. Let's see. I won Panda's hash rate 2 times. Congrats, Rizzo. You're banned from mine. Just kidding. Just kidding. Well, like I said, we'll do that in my next live stream. I did win a BitX from him, which currently is sitting unused since I changed my desk and I don't have enough power ports to run it right now. Anyway, let's see. It's already hit a 508G share. I'm gonna out it on BCH. I probably should change mine to BCH so I can actually maybe hit something. I've been running it on Bitcoin. Rizzo, I've won 3 home miners from the hobbyist now. That's funny. That is funny. Hobbyist, by the way, he would have been on tonight, but I think I remember mentioning last week, he is got a really early flight tomorrow to Vegas for Bitcoin conference. So he was unable to make it tonight. And because of the timing and everything, I meant to ask Crute if he wanted to join, but I just never got around to it. I actually am driving now, so I drove to the city and back. So I was like, well, maybe if I was in the car, I could have just called him. But anyway, didn't think about it. And then it was time for the stream. So, but maybe tomorrow, if he wants to join when I do the build, so he can maybe heckle me as I do the build. Up to him. KS0 Pro. Actually, I did get a KS0. It wasn't a Pro, I don't think, but I did get a KS0 from him. I did give that away at some point. Jingle Mining Solo Pro. I didn't get that, but I currently have a BitX that I got from him. So I've won 2 things from him. Rizzo 529 banned. Yes, banned. Alrighty, guys. I have been going 2 hours and 25 minutes, way longer than I expected. But hey, I am sitting comfortably. As you can tell, been smiling most of the stream. It is so good to be able to walk, generally walk without a limp. Like when I get up, I will limp at least for the first few steps because it will have stiffened up. Only thing I still can't do, I can sleep on my side, but it hurts when I wake up 2 hours later. So Max is the man. Hardly. So couple of quick plugs. Obviously I am home still on short-term leave. And so more available than I will be. So if anybody wants to book a consulting call, I am available. The times are generally open. So feel free to do that. Don't book tomorrow at 3:00. It's probably open right now and I have not closed it. So don't do that. But anyway, that, and don't forget, if you want a really easy way to install Vast, it's not a requirement. Yes, you can copy commands to your heart's delight. It's just easier by using my tool. So if you want that, know that that's on my site. So check that out. And like I said, I will be in the next few days putting out a general Vast overview tool of things that you need to think about. Airflow, networking are 2 key points in there, but a number of other things as well. So keep an eye out for that. That will be free. That will not be a charged item. We just have to put in your email in order to get it. And other than that, that's about it at this point. I will have some other like very specific tools regarding power. If you see them and you're like, hey, I could use this for my provider, I would definitely be open to modifying that tool for somebody else's provider. If you have different rate plans that could work better for GPU rentals, possibly. Let me know that. Like I said, in Illinois, I've talked about it. We have hourly pricing. So the thing I'm comparing, I should say, is hourly to standard rate, and comparing that history based upon somebody's actual usage over the previous 12 months to know that whether or not they will save money by going with hourly pricing. If you are in the Chicago area, very key, I am looking for 2 people. I want 2 more people to run this tool through and see what results come up. I want to make sure this thing's working. It appears to be working. I ran my sister through it. She would not have saved any money, which I found very interesting. But kind of get it. They don't have a lot of power. I mean, it really works well for people that either have solar or have an electric car. Definitely will save money with hourly pricing. But again, all depends on your usage. And certainly if you can adjust your usage, like run your dishwasher only at night or other things, or pre-cool your house, different other things like that can help you save money with hourly pricing. But this tool will tell you if you continue to use power the way you used the last 12 months, will you save money on hourly or not? And in my sister's case, she would have saved a little bit of money. She would have saved like $50 over a year, but it's kind of insignificant considering how much power she actually used. So she was like, never mind. So, and from what I've seen, the comment tool is not correct when it goes through and tells you this is how much money you're going to save. I looked at it. I've looked at the numbers, and it basically says I'm going to save way more by switching to distribution time of use. When in fact, I'm not going to save I'll save almost nothing. So I'm concerned that other people will be getting incorrect data and then switch over when they shouldn't. And then of course, there's other people that maybe should switch over where their data is incorrect the other way. So I don't know. Alrighty, guys. Well, with all that said, let me catch up on the chat really quick. I dabbled 26 years ago, hydro cooling, of course. Oh, you guys are talking in between each other. Purple Blue Dream. All right, hold on a second. I need to bring you a joint. So I don't need a joint. I don't have, other than sleeping at night if I don't wake up after that 2 hours and I sleep longer and I'm getting more and more pain, not good. I'll wake up in more pain. So I'm glad I'm waking up after 2 hours, because then I can change positions and by the time I wake up in the morning, I'll feel better. But anyway, got in the weeds. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I know I did. We went all over the place tonight, but definitely had a good time telling stories, showing off new product, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow night. Probably try to do early evening, because in case this takes a lot of time, if depending on how far I go with it, we'll see. But appreciate you guys all being here. And as always, no tabs were harmed in the making of this live stream. Have a good one, everybody.